So I have some test projects here that I'm not going to use. We're going to use 4.27.2 like I said, and we're not going to use, at least for now, custom plugins. Even the AGR Pro that I am using, I'll be using the one from the marketplace. So let's launch our engine. Okay, move the tasks to my second screen for now. Okay, and we want to make a new project, which is a game. And honestly, there's a lot of benefits of running a C++ project, not just... Oh, can we do it here? So this is more. Yeah, no, okay, so we want to use this. There are some benefits of running a template and running like the C++ based project. But what I want to do, I want to run a blank project. I don't want to do... Yeah, just blank project with absolutely nothing in it. And we want to say that it is blueprints, like, or maybe C++. Like, it shouldn't populate anything extra for us. So let's make it C++. Maximum quality, ray tracing enabled, because I have an RTX, so I don't see why not. Desktop console, this is the target platform, and without starter content. The starter content is just taking a lot of space for no particular reason. And I definitely don't want to host everything in OneDrive. I want to go just here, C drive, Unreal projects, select folder, and my project will be called Unreal Slasher or Unreal Fantasy. Yeah, I can just call it like this, whatever. It's very hard to change the project's name later. It requires some finesse to do it, so it's good to have it really well planned when you're actually starting a real project. So let's do that. Let's create one, and he will make a proper project. And he will run it in my Visual Studio 2019 automatically. Okay. Okay, so we have our project, and we have our source, and we have our folder, and for now it doesn't... Okay, game mode base. So this is the only thing that it created, I understand. And what is this class? Okay, it's literally nothing. Okay, this is an empty game mode base. That is probably our default one, so doesn't really matter. And this is the target. Okay, so we don't need anything from it. What we want to do is just either run it in debug or build it and run it from a file system directly. So what I'm doing is going to build it. I have a second screen, so this is showing on the second screen. Build one successful. Well, just one empty class, so it wasn't so hard to build it. Okay, I can just close it. And I'm not going to reopen it for a long time, and now it's just running the editor. And it's compiling shaders again. Oh, great. But in the meantime, we can, for example, manage plugins. So, we want to have able. I want to go through all of the plugins just in case, not just the installed one, but the built-in plugins as well, and really think about what we need. Do not add everything just because of reasons. Think about what you are going to need and use now. That may be somewhere, somehow. So, advanced RPG system. By the way, this one was free. It's very solid, but it is part of the ACF framework. So I want to cover this with the entire ACF. Oh yes, definitely. Unique Alembic. Analytics blueprints library is almost nothing. It just shows you how many functions are running on what blueprint. That's it. Distance matching has no documentation, and I don't even think it's running in blueprints. It requires C++. But it has a new version in Unreal Engine 5 that I'm going to cover. This is unimportant. This is actually quite cool. We don't care about Apex destruction or cars as well, honestly, in here. But we are in 427, so it doesn't hurt if we have it. This might be useful later, but definitely not now. Oh, auto-size comment, definitely one of my favorite free plugins. All Azure plugins are for AR, basically. This is a great shame that's not supported anymore, because this was the NVIDIA destructible implementation. It was absolutely amazing. But then they moved it from plugin into an actual engine build because of reasons, and it is no longer supported. It doesn't even work anymore. But it was great. Like, it had construction continuous support, so it allows you to break off chunks if there was enough tension on the material to do so. I just really like Playbook. Oh, okay, it's enabled. This is really good. So, like, this is enabled by default, but actually it requires chaos build for 427. So, doesn't really matter. Save for vectors, we're not going to use that. This is an amazing plugin, but it's made for gas, so we might be using this with gameplay ability system building into Unreal Engine, so in one of the versions of this tutorial. But let's focus on the one that we have ahead of us. Yes. Yes, we do need control. We're going to do IK based on control. We don't need data smith. We don't need this for now. We don't need this one. And by the way, this is my favorite dialogue plugin. Like, you have many good ones. Not Yet is a very good dialogue plugin, but the Just dialogue plugin is my favorite one. It has really cool events and scripts, and it's just really good to work with. This is one of the best save systems, and it works with multiplayer as well. It's just really good. But it requires a separate video as it has very broken documentation, and for our game it's session-based game, so there's no saving required. Easy Ballistics is the best ballistics plugin. It's also free. It is absolutely the best, and we're going to be using it for any firearm projectiles. It can be used for arrows and spells as well, but we'll see. We maybe use it for projectiles, but we maybe just do custom projectiles. People were asking me for custom and homing projectiles, so we might do that. Electronic notes, this is my guilty pleasure. It's $20, but it makes everything looks better. We do need enhanced input. Yes, we do want to use it. If you are working with Chaos, you do need field system. We do want full body AK, even though it's in beta. Do we want game features? Probably not in this version. In the version that we're doing gas, we're going to use gameplay features. Tag editor, yes. Gas companion. If you are using gas, then you should be using gas companion. This is just a no-brainer. It exposes so many functions and do so much stuff that makes working with gas from complete nightmare into really something that is manageable. But yeah, it will be a separate tutorial. We do use Git. We do want GPU's light mask because I have an RTX, so why not? Graph formatter as well. And I just opened the window. Okay. We don't need this for now. The landmass, we might need it for something later. I said we shouldn't do that, like if we might need something, but we will need it for sure. I know that we will. This is interesting. I've never seen this one. I'm gonna have to Google that. Level snapshots. Unreal Engine. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at it. If it is similar to level snapshots that Spatial OS had, then this is super nice and important. All the live links. Logic Driver Lite, it's free. It's very good for AI, for Quest systems, for a lot of things. But we're not going to use it right now. We will be using Extended Standard Library from Low Entry. By the way, this guy is brilliant. He's done a lot of really good plugins that I do own. Media Messages, Microsoft. Yeah, not now. Online subsystem. We're not using Steam. And we're not really using Epic Online Services. We're just using online subsystem. And do we need framework plugin? I don't think so. I think this was free as well. Haven't tested it yet. This is great for flying. This is great. We might use it later. This is great. We might use it later. Might use water as well. But for now, anything that is level design is not as important. So we're just enabling stuff that we are using right now. This will be for dedicated servers, but yeah, for now, like those two are the most important. So HR Pro and Able, those are the ones that will be very heavily relying on in this very particular game series. So that's everything, and shaders finish building in the meantime. So let's restart. Okay. Well, at least in 427 you see what he's doing, otherwise you will just see 75%. Okay. Again. Okay, maybe let's start by saving this map. We just save current, and let's create a new folder called levels or maps, whatever you prefer, and let's call it the test map. Let's just save it, and just like that, now we have a test map. And in this test map, let's do some things. So first of all, let's just make an empty landscape. And say material none. Yeah, sure, why not? 63, 1, it's not a very big one. Location minus 100. And good. That's great. And we don't want to modify it at all. Just go back into select and home or keep it down. Oh, we don't have even like cube material or anything, but that's fine. So we now have those C++ classes here, and we can create children of them. So we see them as those grayed out blueprints, so they're always gray. Those are the C++ ones. So we got levels. And before we start doing some blueprints, we want to go into project settings. And we want to do some stuff here. So we have to go into description, and we want to say that this can stay, project name, and real fantasy. Why not? test, or even tutorial project or okay, and the project version is just this. I need to push all this information. Okay. Gameplay tags will come later. Maps and nodes. We have the test map because we don't want to recompile shaders each time, so we want to load map that is already built. And we probably want to say Unreal Fantasy game mode base as our default. And we want our custom stuff here for the game mode and instance. But this will take a moment. You know what? We can start by doing that. So we have something called gameplay or base, or like there's there's a naming convention for Unreal folders and objects as well, but it is questionable. Like, where do you actually put your some of your features, like the player character? Should it go to the blueprints? Should it goes into gameplay, or should it goes into core? So let's just make gameplay. Inside gameplay, we're going to say, let's keep everything just in proper folders. So let's you know what? Gameplay is gameplay, so we don't need subfolders. We're just going to create a blueprint. We're going to create game mode base. We want a very basic game mode. So let's do you know what? No, we want to make a full game mode. Due to reasons, later on it will be important. So I want to do not game mode base, but game mode. So game mode is one that it has a different match life cycle. It was based on Unreal Tournament, and this will fit us very well. It's called BP session test game mode. And let's make another one, which will be game mode base. We call it BP functional test game mode. Okay. Now we need some more things for our inventory and equipment. We need player state. It's an object actor info player state. We want this player state info PP fantasy player state. We want to have a game instance, which is just a general game instance, and we can always reparent it to something else if it's important. And it is the game instance, not the platformer one. It's called BP fantasy game instance. Do we need a custom controller? Yeah, why not? Let's make a player controller and call it BP fantasy player controller. We can do some stuff in it. And what else do we need? We might want to have a game state. We might not have a game state base, but we don't really need that. We can do everything in the game mode directly. Okay, let's keep it like that. This should be enough. Let's save everything. So now let's open our functional playtest. I want to pick proper classes. So Game session, we don't care about that. Game state, we don't care about that. Player controller is our BP Fantasy player controller with double P. You're gonna have to fix that. Player state, this is the important part. So BP Fantasy player state. HUD class stays HUD for now. Default pound. We're going to change that in a moment. Replay player controller, spectator player controller. Server stat replicator is the default one, and using the star not for this one, and no. So this is the functional game test. Let's open our session test. So we're using same BP Fantasy Player Controller. We're using Fantasy Player State, HUD Player Pound, and I think I want to use seamless travel here, and we want to start players as spectators here. Delayed start. We should immediately start when the first player logs in. The behavior of ready to start match. So this will be custom, and for our functional test, we don't want this delayed start as well. This is the default name, and this is the default name. Okay, we can close this. We can compile, save, and close this. And we can say that it's BP functional test game after all. So we're not even using our C++ class. And we have everything set. Okay, so we're going back into project settings. Maps and modes. We're changing this one here to be our BP Fantasy game instance. And this stays the same. Okay, now for packaging, it's not for now. This is not for now. This stays same. We're not touching custom colliders for now. Crowd manager is not for now. Inputs, this is the important one. Enhance player input. Enhance input controller component. Okay. So we're using enhance inputs right now, so we don't have to define inputs here. We can actually do it differently by creating input objects and defining what they do. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, but we don't need that right now. We don't need that. This is okay. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, rendering. Mobile, we don't care about that. We do want virtual texturing support. This one I'm not so sure about. Definitely not. We want our lighting to be dynamic only. And we do want to generate distance field. And our landscape should generate distance field. I'm not sure about that, so I'm not touching that for now. Screen space, GI. No, we have ray tracing. Okay, we don't care about that. Definitely enable. No. Oh, motion blur definitely off. Like project-wise, I hate motion blur. If you want to have proper motion blur, I can show you how to set it up, but let's disable it for now. Candles, temporal, yeah, that's great. Opaque and like early Z-pass, everything. Yes. Okay. Yes, this I never got it working properly. Sky atmosphere affecting height fog. Yes. Oh, this is the mobile, so we don't care. Skinning. Okay, I think that's everything here. So we are in rendering. And in general, if we go into ray tracing, and if we go into our RHI is DirectX 12. Okay, so we're on ray tracing fully. Now, okay. So this is editor. This is platform specific. I don't see anything here. Plugins. Yes. Yes. Okay. HR debugger activation key. We definitely need one. Let's say it's Control P. And let's make it like Control, because we want to be able to debug everything with AGR Pro, but I don't want to make those inputs fixed because we'll be using them. Okay. Restores later. Enhance input. Okay, pressed. Okay, we can change those if we need. think that's everything. It's everything in the project settings. Let's go really fast into editor preferences as well. So one thing that I really like to do is show frame rate and memory. It's this one here. It's not only FPS that you get here, show FPS. Because it can be real-time off, but the engine itself is running some FPS and is requiring some computing power, and this shows you how many objects you have loaded into the memory and how much memory you have allocated. So you can see I don't have that many objects here, but it loads all objects that are native to the engine. So there's a lot of them, and this is just 3.2 gigabytes just to run the engine. So this is one thing. And here you can configure some of the plugins. So auto size command, random color, no. Default color, black. You can make like a list of random colors. Or you can make random colors but use default color a lot in the randomness. And here, disable resizing. Okay. Just left mouse button, no shift. Method. Contained, not overlap, but contained. Alternative is overlap, okay. Okay. Electronic notes. We're using subway, right? While priority is none, so it's both basically. Ribbon overlapping wires. I don't know what that is, but let's do force draw bubbles. Move on selected. Okay. I'm not touching this one. And in the editor, all settings, they should be also draw midpoint arrows in blueprints. Yes. So this will be bubbles and arrows. Okay, so we got our editor preferences, and by the way, set as default. Yes. Okay. So we got this set as default, we got project settings, and we got, well, basic setup of everything. And if we now update those game modes, it will update the ones set up there.